Hello, hello, everyone. Oh, and welcome to Entrepreneur Talk podcast. There's some echo, right?
Sounds good to me. Very clear
Oh,
to me.
welcome, Peter Joseph to Entrepreneur Talks podcast. Such a pleasure to have you here today with me.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. So, Peter, how are you feeling today?
I am feeling pretty great. I'll tell a little bit more about myself when it's time. But I actually have been traveling a lot. Besides being an
Mm.
entrepreneur, I have a fun little hobby. I'm a flight attendant for a major airline. So I was flying all day yesterday, having fun
Oh,
doing
bless
that,
you.
and got in a little bit late last night. So
So
feeling a little bit mellow today, but in a good way. Yeah.
you're relaxed today.
Relaxed is a good word. Yes.
Yeah, let's say relaxed, do not say tired.
No, just
No,
mellow. Yes.
uh, I like that mellow. Yeah, let's stay. Let's stay like that. So we're gonna be talking with Peter Joseph for get to the root cause of the wanted and unhunted with Peter Joseph. That's correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So Peter, before we start, where are you talking from?
I am in a little town near Washington, D.C., at the southern part of the state of Maryland. So a little beach town called Chesapeake Beach, which is literally right on the Chesapeake Bay. So really nice, peaceful, tranquil little town. Not too far
Uh,
from Washington, D.C.
but that's fine. It has a beach, so for me it would be perfect.
Exactly. Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. And how is the weather there?
It's been cold the last few days, but today we're somewhere around 73 degrees Fahrenheit. I want to say that's probably 22, 23 degrees
That's
Celsius. So just
cute.
perfect for
Yeah,
me.
that's really good. I
Yeah.
love your plants, your trees, by the way. In
Thank you.
the
Got to have a little decor, right? Keep things cheerful.
pretty, pretty and powerful. It's good to have plants around.
Yeah.
Okay, and now let's go for my one of my favorite questions. In 3 words, describe yourself.
Oh, goodness. 3 words to describe myself. I would say caring, empathetic, and tenacious. Probably my top
Mm.
three.
Caring, let me put here, caring, empathetic, and tenacious. Okay, let's go for the last one, tenacious. Why tenacious?
Had a feeling you were going to go for that one. Well, as I'll explain a little bit more as we have our conversation, I have become a person, maybe some of it I was born with, some of it I've acquired. It's been a combination. I've become a person that never gives up.
I love that.
A person that gets really clear on a goal and goes for that goal, and never gives up. I'll tell you, we've all been in positions where we've wanted to give up. And I'm not going to say I don't sometimes still go there, but I've become a person who's really just always going to keep going until I get there. I always say I'm going to keep going till I get there, or I'll be still aspiring toward it when I take my last breath. But there's no quitting.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. My kind of person. I love that. And so, because of that, how or what do you do?
Well, sure. I can say it really in a nutshell here. What I do is I help individuals and also corporations, aspiring entrepreneurs and businesses. I help them to reprogram their mindset and reprogram their thinking so that they can actually achieve those dream lifestyles they really want to achieve and sustain them. There's a science of mind that's got to be understood and put in place. And I help people apply that to get the results they really want and to sustain them.
And that's why you said that's why you living the life that the way you living because you learn,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah. I have been fortunate enough to have learned this along the way and had some really great mentors that have helped me make that transition. Have been getting some amazing results and now starting to get amazing results for clients. And the mission is to help as many
amazing.
people as I can to do that. Yeah.
That's amazing. And how long you been doing, Peter?
Well, this in particular, about 7 years. My background is organizational development, so I've been doing some form of this with corporations around the United States, American Airlines, U.S. Airways, the Washington Post, Lowe's Home Improvement, a big home improvement store. So I've had a lot of corporate positions helping organizations get results. And I noticed when I left corporate, I'll tell that story in just a moment, but when I left corporate and started my own business as an entrepreneur, I noticed something was missing. And that in corporations, the people I was working with, we'd get great results, or I get great results for clients. And then when I left the organization, I would watch the results slowly go like this and revert to where the organization was previously.
Wow.
And that bothered me. And I started asking the question, why does that keep happening? And along the way of answering that question, I learned that it's really all about what's going on inside here. It's really all about the
Powerful.
programming that most, not just organizations, but most of us as individuals don't even know we have. It's like a computer software program or virus that's running in the background that we're not aware of. So it became really clear to me over the last 7 years or so that I needed to switch gears, not just from putting systems in place for organizations to perform better, but that in addition to that, it's got to include the reprogramming of the mind for those
That's
results
so,
to
so,
sustain.
so good. But when
Yeah.
you talk about organizations or
Mhm.
corporations, is a huge number of people. And that
Yeah.
means you need to train. Of course, you're not going to, I believe that it's not just going to start, it's not just going to be with the CEO, but
Yes.
a certain level of people that you need to get with them, right? You need.
Absolutely. Yeah. But
Um,
you're on the right track because, you know, what I've also seen not work very well is, and this happens unfortunately more often than not in most organizations, what doesn't work is to try to start this in the middle of the organization or the
mm,
bottom of the organization. So when I work with organizations, big or small entrepreneurial startups, big corporations, it's got to start at the top. I'm not going to do it if the CEO and the people at the top are not going to embrace it first. And
yeah,
then you're absolutely right. Everything is done in cascading layers.
yeah.
You know, I liken it to the game of tug of war, if you're familiar with that, where you know there's two different sides and
Oh,
everybody is
yeah,
holding
yeah,
a rope
I
and
do. I
yeah,
do
you
that.
know, we've all got to be pulling in the same direction at the same time, and the only way to make that work is it's the mindset change has to start at the top
At the
and
top.
then go down to every level in every department so that we're all pulling in the same direction. And even working with individual clients, in a lot of ways, that's easier. But the same approach applies. It's still
Right.
all about the reprogramming of the mind. It's just you're right. It's a broader scope, obviously, when working with an
Hmm.
organization, but same principles.
Yes, the principle is the same.
Yeah.
So, and that work must be deferred as well, depending on the number of the size of the organization, or the if it's a client alone, also depending on the, I don't know. This is me thinking, right? You're gonna confirm to me, but
Okay.
let's say with a client, it's not always the same length of time that you work with, right?
Well, I do have a program
Ah,
with
okay.
clients. So actually, it is. I have a 12-week program, which is called Limitless Lifestyle Quest. And it literally takes individual clients. Now, this is the same program that would work for corporate. It would just start at the top and we would just do it in layers across the organization. But it's a really defined program and it's in partnership with an organization called Proctor Gallagher Institute. I don't know if you've ever heard of Bob Proctor.
Yes,
Um,
I
but
do.
bless him, he just passed away, about 3 weeks ago at the beginning of February at the age of 87. Pioneer in this field of personal development. And let's face it, it's always personal development, even when it's a large organization, right? Because organizations are just individuals, and each one of them needs to make that shift. So Bob was one of my mentors. I've worked with him for about the past 7 years before his passing. And so I'm using a program in partnership with his organization, which is the foundation. So it's 12 weeks. It is 12 modules, and literally it guides people through getting past their programming to, one, realize that most of us as individuals, even organizations, are thinking too small. We're not setting the right big goals. So it's all about figuring out what's that worthy ideal, what's that big goal. It's about setting that goal in a way that it's clear, either to the individual or to everybody in the organization, and getting everyone in line with it if it's an organization. And then from there, it's really all about how to reprogram the thinking. It's the conscious mind, the subconscious mind that we're not aware of, those two things working together so that we start more automatically taking the actions that we need to take and changing the habits that we need to change, not only to get those big results, but then to be able to sustain them. And then very, very importantly, it's all about how to get over I like to call the terror barrier. Because let's face it, when we set a big goal, it sounds good in the beginning until we start to go for it. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I'm scared. And we tend to want to run back to the safe place. So it's really a lot of how to overcome that terror barrier that will keep coming up over again. So in a nutshell, that's what the program does. And it's just 12 modules over 12 weeks.
That terrier barrier that you just said, that name, is the same like procrastination?
It definitely ties into procrastination. So I can say procrastination, two different reasons that happens. The terror barrier for sure, where that subconscious mind is going, this is too big for you. How are you going to do this? This is really scary. Go back to where we feel safe. So that's part of it. The other part of it, which I guess I can delve into now, there's something called the knowing doing gap. And again, this is individuals or organizations. So think about it. How many times have you or people you've observed, they know what to do to get the result they want to get? They have the knowledge, but they don't do it.
They don't take action.
It's like starting a workout program or setting a New Year's resolution. There's a reason for that. And that's usually where the procrastination comes in. And the basic reason for that is we're never going to get results, individual, corporate, or otherwise. We're never going to get the results that we really want if we don't change the programming. The results always match the programming. So I like to use, since I also work in aviation, I like to use the example of an autopilot on an airplane. So you're in London, I'm in close to Washington, D.C. So Yola, let's say that we get in a plane and we're going to fly across the Atlantic Ocean from Washington, D.C. to London. Well, what the pilots are going to do, if they know what they're doing, they're going to set the autopilot and program the computer so that plane will more or less automatically fly from Washington, D.C. to London. It'll get off course a little bit, but the computer is going to correct it and we're going to land in London. The mistake that most people make that leads not only to the procrastination, but also then leads to them not getting the result they want or sustaining it after they get it. Their autopilot on their airplane, so to speak, isn't set right. So if my big dream is I want to get on that plane and fly it to London, and I don't realize through all the programming I've picked up through my life that my autopilot is sent for Duluth, Minnesota, that plane's going to take off. I'm going to start flying to London going, yay, I'm going to London. The autopilot's going to keep trying to turn the plane around to Duluth, Minnesota. And then I'm going to do, if I don't know any better, what most people do, hard work and struggle. I'm going to grab that yoke. I'm going to force the plane to go to, and the computer is ultimately going to take over. Eventually, we're going to say, I'm tired of the struggle. I guess I'll just sit back. That's where the procrastination comes in. And the plane is going to follow the programming. It's going to turn around. It's going to land in Duluth, Minnesota every time. And then what do most of us do? We say, I give up. London's the impossible dream. I better settle for Duluth, Minnesota. It's the best I can do. Everybody I know is stuck in Duluth, Minnesota. So I give up on London and I'm just not going to take any more action, right? Because it's too hard. However, if we go in and change the autopilot programming to London, then automatically and fairly easily, that plane's going to stay on course and go to London. We're going to be able to sustain that. And so the procrastination goes away when we've set that clear goal, that big goal, that's what we really want. And
Right.
we change the programming, that autopilot running in the background. So the programming puts us on an autopilot to that goal. And that's what I help corporate and individual clients do over a 12-week period.
This is so powerful.
Yeah.
No, I can imagine the person after that 12 weeks.
I will
So
tell you, Yola, I have had clients who, even some recently, who gotten back to me that have just surprised me with their results. And often I will get clients, corporate or individual, who are very skeptical. Oh, all this hocus pocus mental stuff. The trick is no, hard work and force yourself to do it. And I have to
yeah,
ask them, how's that been working for you so far? It's hard. It's a struggle. There's procrastination. If you have a team or an organization, you're not getting all of them on board, and you're still getting results that are far short of what you really want and what you or your organization are really capable of. So I always tell clients, I welcome the skepticism.
and on the end,
Welcome it.
on the other
Yeah,
side as well, it will beneficial for your own lives because
absolutely.
it's gonna work in
Absolutely.
everything. Whatever
Oh,
they
yeah,
the program will work in your family or your business because it's
absolutely.
transformational mindset and
Yeah.
everything will change, and that's so
You have hit the nail on the head. These are universal principles. I call them laws of nature.
yeah.
Some people call it quantum physics, some people, but basically, Yola, energy attracts like energy.
That's it.
So,
Yeah.
however we're programmed inside, those conversations we constantly have in our heads, the image that we have of ourselves, what's constantly running in the background that we've been told about ourselves and what we're capable of. We're always talking in our heads about that. There's real energy to that. And if you'll notice, it doesn't take too long. Look at your own life or the lives of people that you observe. The results they get always match
Yeah.
what's going on in here. So the sooner that we can get, whether it's corporate or whether it's, honestly, even if it's corporate, it is individual because it's individuals in the corporation. The
Yes, of
sooner
course.
we can realize what our programming is and deliberately change it, which does not have to take very long at all once we understand what's going on, that's the key to ongoing success. And you're right, we can apply that any place.
Any place, anything.
That's the key that unlocks that treasure chest. It's the science, really, of creating whatever results we want to create.
I love mindset.
Yeah, it's so important and it's so foundational. And when I teach this, to corporations or when I'm working with individual clients, I have a graphic I put up. It's a man in Roman garb, a little
Yeah.
cartoon, and he's on a chariot holding the reins, and the horse is standing behind him.
Oh,
And I kind of have to ask, what's wrong with this picture? And he's like, yeah, the horse needs to be in the front. It's like,
they normally at
exactly.
the front.
Yeah, your mindset is the horse. You want to put that in front. You got to do that first. That drives everything. And then, yes, take the actions that you need to take.
Oh
But
wow.
so many people want to ask somebody who's successful, how did you get successful? Here, I have a pen and some paper. Give me the 20 steps that you took. I'm going to write those down. And then I'm going to follow the same steps you took in order. And then I'm going to get the same result. And notice how many times they don't get the same result. Why? Because it wasn't just about following those steps. It was about getting that foundational mindset piece, that autopilot reprogramming taken care of first. That person who's successful, some people do this consciously. Some people are what I like to call unconscious competence. Somehow they have developed the right programming that gets them to where they want to go, but they don't realize it or they don't know how they did it. But if all we're doing is going to webinars and going to seminars and taking classes and reading books for all of the steps on what to do, and we're not getting this foundational mindset piece in place first, we are putting the horse behind the cart. And that's why people get the results that they get. Your results are never solely the result of your action.
Yes.
It's always fundamentally the result of your mindset.
This is so powerful, Peter. Thank you so much.
Hey, my
It's
pleasure.
really, really good. It's just wow. I'm just seeing everything I'm doing. I'm thinking like, yes, that's the right. This message that you just brought about the horses behind and the front is really, really, really good. Everything, but this one is gonna stuck in my mind till
Good.
I.
I'm glad it helps. The wonderful thing about this is that once somebody understands this and has a process in place to reprogram,
Mhm.
then again, that's the key that unlocks the treasure chest. And I always tell my clients, I always kind of half jokingly tell them two things. I tell them, one, before you learn this, let me just tell you, I almost need you to sign a waiver. You cannot, once you learn this secret, you're never going to be the same. There, you can't go back. You
Yeah,
just, once you learn this and understand how it works, you have no excuses. You can't go back.
that's it.
And then the second thing that I always tell them is, and this is a good thing, once you understand this, you basically have the keys to the kingdom. And every time you achieve what it is you want to achieve, this is ongoing. So
Yeah,
now you're going to
it's
say,
going
okay,
up
ooh,
and up.
now what do I want? You're never going to be satisfied for very long with whatever level you achieve. You're always going to say, okay, so now what's next? Okay, so now what do I want? Okay, so now where do I go from here? And that's the juice and the spice of life. And it becomes really joyful once you understand how this works and you know that you can apply it. If you stick with it and apply it, I used the word tenacious earlier in our
Yes.
conversation. If you're tenacious and you stick with it and apply it consistently, you can continue to achieve more and more and more and more of that dream life that you really want to live.
Totally.
You never have to settle again.
Yes, I agree. Now, I have another question that I know you know how to answer. So, you having this corporation or individual clients, when it comes to individual clients, uh, they don't need a business, right? For being
No, 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 no,
can
not
be
at all.
yeah, can be
No, if they
related.
have a business, great. If they don't have a business, great. I've had some clients who have wanted to start a business and their programming told them, oh, I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. And then guess what? Within 6 months, a year, they've started a business and they're doing well. So I focus on whatever the client is important to them, usually 4 different quadrants that they kind of choose from. Time and money freedom is a big one for people. Health is a big one for people. Vocation, what they want to do with
Mhm.
their lives, even if it's career wise, and relationships. Usually it falls into one of those 4 categories, but it's really the client gets to decide what that dream life is for them. Everybody has their own definition of success.
Yes, that's right. Now, and when it comes to beliefs and traumas, this
Mhm.
is something that is included in your program, right?
Not directly, but it absolutely does apply.
Because
So I have one client who, had a difficult upbringing. She has PTSD, and all of that. And she's been working with this and has said she's really had some breakthrough. So this isn't directly tied to trauma, but indirectly, it's been helping clients with trauma. Again, also seeing their medical professionals and everything else they need to
yes.
do.
Mhm.
Because again, a lot of that trauma has caused that autopilot.
That's right. That's why I
And
was
so it helps
yeah.
clients to reprogram the autopilot. And I have one client I'm working with right now. She's in New York, who is really finding that it's helping her with everything else that she's doing for treatment. It's actually helping her to release a lot of that trauma.
Yeah,
So it
because
definitely ties in.
I think when it comes to programming or reprogram, it will touch that because the beliefs they're coming from your past, from anything that you keep doing. So you're so
Absolutely.
used to.
Yeah.
So it's like you're so used to say yes. This is one of the things that I believe like probably after the program that you created. After I join the program, I will start to have more confidence and say no when is to say no. So, but the no, but the yes is so into my beliefs that it's normal to say yes. Do
Yeah.
I make sense, Peter?
That
Right?
really does. And that brings up a really important topic that's part of this program as well, which is all about self image. So
Mm.
consider this. this ties into the reprogramming, by the way, but our results and how we behave in the world. If we're people, I have a tendency to be a people pleaser and a person that says yes all the time also. And I've worked on that, but it's all self-image. So if the self-image is, I'm a person that always needs to say yes, I have to please people, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a whatever that self-image is, if you think about it, we never get results that go beyond our self-image. If I think of myself as a yes person, people pleaser, and that's my self-image, that's part of my autopilot, my plane's always going to turn around to me saying yes all the time and having that people-pleasing self-image. If I am somebody who thinks I'm not smart enough to run a successful business, and that's the self-image I have, and I try to start a business, my businesses are not going to succeed because it doesn't match my self-image. If I'm a person who says I'm always overweight, my family's always been overweight, my parents and grandparents were overweight, I can never lose weight. If my image is inside, I'm an overweight person, I might diet and follow the steps and starve myself and lose some weight. That autopilot on my overweight self-image,
you will bring up.
And that plane right back around, the pounds are going to come back. The people that get those types of results in those areas and keep them off, use that understanding, that science of how to use the conscious and subconscious mind in conjunction with their body and the actions they take and do that all together. Those are the people that succeed in keeping the weight off, in building the business and being successful, in improving their health and having successful relationships and having wealth or time and money freedom, whatever's important to them.
That's so good. Thank you so much for sharing this knowledge with us. I really enjoyed this.
My pleasure.
So powerful, so powerful. I would stay here forever.
No. And trust me, I can talk forever. I won't, I promise.
I love it. I was just thinking, you've been traveling a lot. You said, I've been traveling a lot. You just arrived yesterday. And this is a little bit away from your program, but
that's okay.
How did you take the pandemic? Because now you're traveling a lot, but you spend a lot of time without traveling. How did your mind accept that?
You know, I kept traveling. So let me kind of explain a little bit. So I travel I literally travel for a living. So very, very quick story. I left a corporate position. I had a nice 6-figure director position at a very famous newspaper, the Washington Post. And a friend of mine, I knew it was time for me to do something on my own. My terror barrier was stopping me. I was terrified, but I knew that my mission was to start my own business. So a friend of mine who convinced me to do this, had done something similar a little bit before I did, a couple years before I did, said, I'll walk you through how to do it. Come stay with me at my house in Palm Springs for 5 days. I'll walk you through all the business planning. And he said, you used to be a flight attendant, or I guess in the UK, you would say an airline steward. I did that right out of college years ago in my younger days. He said, you loved that. Why don't you see if you can get rehired? You love to travel. While you start up your business, that'll give you your health benefits. And why don't you do that? So I applied to an airline, a major airline. I got in. And I flew for a living as a flight attendant while I was building my business. And I've got to tell you, Yola, I still love it so much that everyone says, why don't you quit? And it's like, because I love it. You know, there's something to working for satisfaction. Now, I don't do it a lot. I try to keep the hours very, very low. It's basically a hobby. But, you know, the airline schedule had to keep flying even during the pandemic. So I, had my mask on. And I was actually working on airplanes just for fun because it's something I love. One day I'll probably leave. Yes, and everybody thought I was insane. You gave up a 6-figure director job at the Washington Post to go be an airline steward? Well, no, I left to start my own business, but this airline steward is fun. And it gave me health benefits until I had enough income coming in to take care of that myself. But I'm having too much fun to leave it now, maybe in a couple of years.
I love that. It's so good to hear that, because you still getting your dream business, or you building, or you actually settled, but you still doing this for fun. I love it.
It's too fun to give up. So,
Yeah.
it's important to work for satisfaction.
Yes.
And
And
then,
you,
of course, you can build other multiple sources of income to get income in, for sure.
mhm,
Passive income is a good thing to get in, but working for satisfaction, if you're going to work, the satisfaction factor has definitely got to be there. Life's too short to do
that's for
something you
sure.
don't like.
Yes. And
Yeah.
at the same time, for you to be able to enjoy till now, you must been having a great people around you, which
I have to
ourselves
say,
do
yeah.
that. We call the universe. The universe brings whatever we ask, like you mentioned.
Absolutely. And it's a real quick story here. It's energy attracts like energy. So
Yes.
I've noticed when I fly with a crew of flight attendants, sometimes flight attendants will say, "Oh my gosh, what do you think of that horrible lady in seat 36F?" And I'll say, "You mean that really nice lady I was just talking to in 36F?" Or how come you never have problems with passengers? But you're right, the energy that you put out attracts what comes back. So I will find, just like you just said, I'm sure you find this too. I can tell by
Yeah.
your energy, the people that are, it's like your energy is like a magnet. And if your energy
Yeah.
is positive,
You will
it's like a
bring it.
magnet. Those are the people that come to you. Right.
Yeah.
So I will find that the negative person, either they just won't have any interaction with me, it'll be with somebody else,
Hmm.
or when they interact with me, they'll be wonderful when they interact with me, is
Yeah.
generally what I find. And
Well,
when I do have a problem or I have someone that's unkind to me, now I say to myself, okay, I did that. Where was my energy? What was I thinking? And where was my energy? Because nothing's ever asserted on us. We're always attracting based on our energy. So I go, okay, I did that. I'll take responsibility. Yep. You know what I was thinking? I didn't want to be here today, or I didn't. Yep. And then that brought in, and I say, okay, yay. I have control over that. And now I know what to do to change it. So let me just take a few minutes and start shifting my energy, and I can correct that. It really is one of the keys to the kingdom to be able to do that.
yeah, it is. It is. I'm with you. I totally got it. And I love it. I love it. It's so it is the most powerful tool that I do run in my life.
Absolutely.
My mindset
Absolutely.
is our
Spread the
mind.
word. Let people know. Nothing's ever asserted. If there's something
Mhm.
showing up in our lives in any way, business, personal, in any way at all, ultimately we are the ones who have attracted it based on where our energy is. And we have the power, with a little practice and learning how to do it, we have the power to deliberately shift that energy, that point of attraction, and attract whatever else we want in our lives, and the means to achieving it and sustaining it. It's really, for people that think of this as some sort of mumbo jumbo, new agey nonsense, which some people do, I just tell them,
Yeah,
it's basically quantum physics.
it
It's
is.
energy attracting like energy. Smart guys like Albert Einstein and people like that have been telling us this stuff for decades. Energy attracts like energy.
Yeah. Even Bob Proctor, he teaches.
Yes.
I remember. I know.
Yes. Here's my coveted picture with Bob.
Oh,
There
bless.
he is. God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
Yeah, Bob and his business partner Sandy. So yeah, he's been a great mentor. There's no way I'd ever be able to pay him back for what I've learned from him.
I've watched a couple of documentaries about his like things that he teach, and is very interesting.
Yeah,
How
amazing.
is worth it to watch, to learn. Even your program, if it's coming from him, I know this works.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially, it is his program that I'm
Yeah,
licensed. I'm licensed to administer, and I've got my own touches that I
of
add to it as
course.
well. But the
Because
foundation of it is his
that's
program.
right.
Yes.
Because everyone got their own way to promote, to provide, and that's what brings what we were just talking about the energy. And your
Yes.
energy must be so much fun doing
Well,
this.
thanks. Back at you. Yours too. I've enjoyed this a lot.
Thank you so much, Peter.
Sure, of course, my
Now,
pleasure.
now we're gonna go.
Okay.
We're about to go very soon, but before we go, I wanted to ask, how can people connect with you, find you anywhere,
Oh,
where they can
sure.
find you?
Yeah, so I'll give people three ways that they can reach me. So the first thing is they are welcome to join my private Facebook group, which is called Limitless Lifestyle Quest. So if they just go into Facebook and search Limitless Lifestyle Quest, the group is right there. They have a couple of questions they need to answer. I've got a lot of free training, introduction to this material, videos and things like that that they're going to
Mhm.
find useful. So I welcome anybody that would like to join that. We have a lot of fun there and conversations and things. The second thing is my YouTube channel, which has a similar name. The YouTube channel is called Peter Joseph Limitless Lifestyle Quest, right? So they can find me there on YouTube. And then they can connect with me on LinkedIn as well, just Peter Joseph on LinkedIn as well.
Fabulous. When you did sign up for the podcast, you
Mhm.
sent me a freebie, thinking into results free guide. Still
Yes,
available?
it is still available. Certainly, yes. So feel free to share that. I'm not sure if I sent you links to the Facebook page and the YouTube channel.
You did, yeah.
I've rebranded them, so the links are probably going to be a little bit different now. So after we're finished here, I will send you updated links
Yes,
so
please.
people can more easily get to the private Facebook group and to the YouTube channel.
Yes, because the Facebook group that I have in my power is limitless results for leaders.
Yes, and the name was changed and it was rebranded about a month ago.
Ah, okay.
So
So
I'll send you the updated link if you'd like to share it.
yes, of course, I'd like to share. It will be essential to share this with my listeners and followers. So anyone can just right now can jump into the description of this podcast and will be available there. At least the YouTube, I believe, is going to work because, and the LinkedIn, and then I will update the Facebook
Okay.
link.
And I'll make sure you have all the correct links.
Fantastic. Thank you so much,
Hey,
Peter.
thank you for having me. It's my pleasure. This was fun.
I do you know what? I've been calling you Peter, but I want to call you Joseph, and I don't know why.
No,
It,
that's okay. Everybody does that. I'm the guy with two first names.
yeah,
So
it sounds
Peter's the
like
first name, Joseph's the last name. I've learned to just answer to both. It's okay.
I don't know why, but I say Peter, but I think, oh, I'm doing wrong. He's Joseph, but no,
That's
I'm
okay.
actually calling you in the right way. So I
You're
was
right. And by the way, everybody does that. So don't worry about it. It's
really,
okay.
oh wow. I don't know. It's powerful. Both names are really powerful. So I don't know. I just felt like that. I do have two names as well. I'm Yola Tatiana, so I don't mind, but it's just going for the second name. I don't know why. But Joseph, thank you so much for your
Sure.
presence. I'm so glad that you came and you joined us. And of course, we're going to keep in touch.
Absolutely.
For everyone that has been here, don't forget, read the description of this podcast session. Get in touch with Joseph. Oops, the Peter. You see, now I'm
I
free
told
to
you I answer to both. It's okay.
get in touch with Joseph and feel free to rewatch this on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter is available there and also on the podcast platforms. So thank you once again. God bless you
My pleasure.
and take care. All the best. Bye bye.